Hi, I'm Tom Landon. The program you're about to watch was recorded live at the historic Grandin Theater in Roanoke. Since we started the Echo Channel, we've made every effort to record as many Hoot and Holler storytelling shows as we can. If you appreciate seeing programs like this one and the fact that we make them available online and on demand to a global audience, I hope you'll consider supporting Blue Ridge PBS by becoming a member. These programs aren't cheap to produce, and we're actively seeking underwriting to support the recording, editing, and distribution of Hoot and Holler so that we can continue to make these heartfelt and personal tales available to those who are unable to attend them live. If you'd like to learn more about sponsorship, please drop me a line by email at tlandon@blueridgepbs.org. And enjoy the show.
Blue Ridge PBS and Echo present Hoot and Holler, a live storytelling event recorded at the historic Grandin Theater in Roanoke, Virginia.
Good evening. As I'm sure you already know, I am going to tell you a love story. But let me warn you, it is not your typical candlelit dinner, sunset walks on the beach kind of love story. No, mine starts with a Greyhound bus, unlike Bill's, a few questionable life choices, and a girl named Katie. In 2000, I was 20 years old and absolutely convinced that I was this star in my own indie romance movie, a mashup of Reality Bites and Empire Records. You know, lots of deep conversations about the meaning of life, flannel shirts and band tees, and a soundtrack that's equal parts Smashing Pumpkins, Tori Amos, and Nirvana. Basically peak angst. I grew up in a tiny Minnesota town, oldest of 9 kids, and hyper-responsible out of necessity. My childhood was a blur of laundry and chopping wood, babysitting and taxiing my siblings around, and working 2 jobs to help keep the lights on. My dad was in and out of jail, battling his own demons with addiction, and my mom was working nights. While I loved my family fiercely, I felt trapped by the small town life, by poverty, by expectations, by judgment, and the nagging feeling that there was no escape. And then there was Katie. Katie was everything I wasn't. She was bold and mysterious. She was effortlessly cool. She came from a seemingly stable and happy family. She wore combat boots with prom dresses. She rocked thrift store clothes before it was trendy, and she had a rebellious streak a mile wide. She was my best friend from high school, the first girl I ever kissed, and the person I was hopelessly in love with. We spent our teenage years pushing boundaries, showing up to prom without dates, skipping school, blasting Ani DeFranco in the car, sneaking wine coolers on our camping trips to help us remove our indoctrinated Catholic inhibitions about girls making out. We ended up in slightly dangerous situations that really made us feel like badass, fiercely independent punk girls. But after high school, Katie decided to leave. She moved to Roanoke, Virginia to stay with her aunt and uncle, and I was devastated. But then after 2 weeks, out of the blue, she called and said, "Hey, you should come visit." A long weekend in Roanoke with Katie. My heart fluttered. I packed a bag, I hopped on a Greyhound bus, and endured 36 straight hours of questionable smells, strangers with no boundaries, and a bathroom that, actually, let's not talk about the bathroom. But I didn't care. I was in full-on romance mode. I was picturing this dramatic reunion at the bus station, right? Katie running toward me in slow motion with her arms outstretched. The whole thing scored by the Cranberries song Dreams. The person falling here is me, a different way to be. But what actually happened was more like she gave me a quick hug and said, "Let's grab coffee." She took me down to Mill Mountain Coffee and Tea, a place that looked like it was straight out of an MTV music video. Local artists, musicians, and road kids. Now, road kids weren't your average coffee shop crowd. They were like a traveling circus of punks and anarchists and free spirits, vagabonds with stick and poke tattoos and patched up jackets, and a general vibe of we don't believe in capitalism or showers. And me, well, I was just a shy girl from Minnesota, feeling completely out of my depth, but also completely fascinated. I thought, wow, they're so cool. In just a few short days, Roanoke had cracked me open. I no longer had to be the responsible older sister or the poor girl from Minnesota. I could be anything or anyone. There was no turning back. So Katie and I decided that we could make a life in Roanoke. After my 4-day visit, we drove back to Minnesota, packed up my jalopy of a Volkswagen Jetta with everything I owned: clothes, random artwork, my CDs, my stereo, notebooks full of bad poetry, and we headed back to Virginia. For a few weeks, life felt magical. We had sweet picnics. We made what we would consider art. We slept in the same bed. We kissed each other goodnight. We danced topless sometimes, watching the road kids throw fire in the backyard. It was amazing, and we were in love. Then one morning, I woke up to find a note on the kitchen counter. "I'm sorry, I can't do this. I've gone back to Minnesota." That was it. No explanation, no goodbye, just poof, she was gone. Now what? Thankfully, I had my job as a home health aide caring for a sassy, opinionated elderly woman named Gladys. Gladys did not hold back on advice. Her 2 favorite sayings were, "If you can't be good, be careful." And "You only have one life, you might as well live it." Gladys grounded me when I felt heartbroken, abandoned, and lost, and the road kids kept me going. Together, it created this odd, mismatched lifeline. One week, I'm folding laundry in a house that smells like baby powder and biscuits, and the next week, I'm dumpster diving, drinking beer in abandoned houses, playing acoustic guitars by bonfires, and getting high under the stars. It was like a weird double life, like Mrs. Doubtfire, but with more weed and less cross-dressing. By late January, I'd had enough. I decided it was probably time for me to leave Roanoke. I walked down to the Greyhound bus station, ready to buy a one-way ticket to Seattle, because obviously, the home of grunge, rain, broody musicians, that's where I really belonged. But of course, the bus station was closed, because sometimes fate literally locks the door in your face. I felt crushed, like, seriously? Even my escape plan is a failure? Feeling hopeless, I trudged down Campbell Avenue to Mill Mountain Coffee. I ordered a chai latte and stared out the window, wondering what the hell I was doing with my life. That's when my friend Red showed up. Red was one of my road kid friends who always seemed to know when somebody needed a little bit of company. We started chatting, and then he waved someone over. It was this guy named Adam. Now, Adam had bright blue eyes, a mischievous grin, and he smelled like clove cigarettes and crisp January air. He was handsome in a recovering hippie kind of way. He wasn't really dressed for the weather, but he seemed too cool to care. When he stepped outside to smoke, I offered him my scarf. Just a small gesture, nothing dramatic. But looking back, that was actually the moment that everything changed. Red left to go see some of his friends down the street, and when Adam came in to return the scarf, he asked if he could finish his coffee with me. We sat there talking until the coffee shop closed, talking about how we knew Red and the road kids, why relationships fail, the origins of the universe. Every time Adam went outside to smoke, I'd watch him through the window, wondering how this guy I barely knew made me feel so seen. Later, we wandered through downtown Roanoke in January until 4 a.m., talking about everything and nothing. Later, he walked me to my friend's house, and I made it really clear, I am not looking for a relationship. I had just had my heart broken, and I was not about to let that happen again. At first, I told myself this could be a new friendship, someone to distract me from the chaos of my life. But Adam wasn't just fun. He was silly in the best possible way. He would tease me about my Minnesotan accent, launch into some random Monty Python skits, or delve into a passionate debate about Bob Dylan's best album like he was defending his dissertation. He made me laugh until my stomach hurt and made me think until my head hurt. And he saw me. He didn't just see the overworked, angsty girl who scribbled incomplete poetry in tattered notebooks. He saw the real me, the me who wanted more out of life but didn't quite know how to get there. And instead of trying to change me, Adam gave me space to grow. He was always there, thoughtful and deliberate, and cheering me on every step of the way. Together, we figured out who we were. We took road trips to nowhere, we blasted our mixtapes, dreamed about the future. We got complimentary skull tattoos to signify till death do us part. And somewhere along the way, we built something that I never thought I'd have, a life filled with safety, stability, and love. We've created a home that is free from the chaos of my childhood, a place where we could both grow into the best versions of ourselves. And I'm so proud of how far we've come, of the family that we've built together, and of the way that we've held on to each other through it all. I'm trying to see him, he's out there. 24 years later, we've traded dumpster diving for estate sales, but we're still the same at heart. We love live music and road trips, and you can still find us at the Waffle House late at night, along with our 2 kids, loading up the jukebox with our favorite 90s songs and talking about life's big questions. You know, I thought my love story was with Katie, and I thought Seattle might be my destination, but life has a way of surprising you. I found that my forever wasn't in a dramatic or cinematic moment. It was in the little things, the way Adam makes me laugh, the way he sees me, and the way we've created this beautiful life together in a town I never expected to call home. Roanoke wasn't just a stop on my journey, it became my forever. And Adam, he's the most beautiful twist in a story I never could have written myself. Thank you.